The massive screen in Earth's United Council chamber showed a ship unlike anything humans had ever built. It gleamed like polished silver, stretching nearly 3 miles long, and it had just appeared at the edge of Mars' orbit. Admiral James Stone stood before the gathered world leaders, his weathered face illuminated by the screen's glow. Ladies and gentlemen, first contact is no longer theoretical. It's here. The ship had broadcast its message across all frequencies in perfect English. Greetings, people of Earth. We are representatives of the Galactic Empire, here to offer you membership in our grand civilization. What the Empire's representatives didn't know was that this wasn't humanity's first encounter with their kind. For the past 5 years, Admiral Stone's team had been quietly intercepting and defeating small Imperial probe ships. They had captured their technology, studied their languages, and learned a troubling truth. The Empire's membership was just another word for slavery. "They're lying to us," Stone said, pressing a button on his remote. The screen changed to show footage of a distant world, its cities in ruins. "This is New Eden, a colony that accepted the Empire's offer 3 years ago. Now their people work in mineral mines, their resources stripped away to fuel the Empire's expansion." The United Council chamber erupted in worried murmurs. The president of the African Union stood up. "What are our options, Admiral?" Stone nodded to his assistant, who distributed tablets showing detailed defense plans. Most civilizations they encounter either submit or try to fight. Both paths lead to the same end, imperial control. But we've prepared a third option. The main screen changed again, showing Earth surrounded by a complex network of satellites and ground stations. For 5 years, we've been reverse engineering their technology. We've learned their weaknesses, developed countermeasures. We can do something no one in the galaxy has ever done before. We can say no. The Chinese premier leaned forward. Say no to an empire that spans the galaxy. Not just say no, Stone replied, a slight smile crossing his face. We can ban them, declare Earth off limits, and unlike other worlds that have tried to resist, we actually have the means to enforce it. The Empire's massive ship now hung in orbit, its shadow visible from Earth's surface as a moving dark spot against the stars. They had given Earth 48 hours to accept their offer of membership. The Council debated through the night. Some argued for acceptance, hoping to negotiate better terms. Others pushed for traditional military resistance. But as the evidence mounted, the destroyed civilizations, the enslaved populations, the stripped worlds, a new consensus emerged. 24 hours after the Empire's arrival, Earth broadcast its response. Admiral Stone stood in the Global Command Center, watching as technicians prepared to transmit their message. The entire planet held its breath, every screen showing the same feed. To the representatives of the Galactic Empire, Stone read, his voice firm and clear. We, the united people of Earth, have received your offer of membership. We have carefully considered your proposal. He paused, looking directly at the camera. The answer is not only no. Earth is hereby declaring itself off limits to the Galactic Empire. Any attempt to enter Earth's space will be met with immediate defensive action. This is not a negotiation. The response came within minutes. The Empire's ship launched a small shuttle, clearly intended to begin negotiations. As it approached Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Stone gave a simple command. Activate Aegis. Around the planet, thousands of satellites hummed to life. Energy fields rippled across the sky, visible as a faint, shimmering curtain. The Imperial shuttle hit this barrier and stopped dead, as if it had struck a solid wall. Send them the full declaration, Stone ordered. Earth's message was broadcast in all Imperial languages. By order of the United Earth Council, the Galactic Empire is banned from Earth space. This region is now under the protection of Project Aegis. Entry is forbidden. This is your only warning. The Imperial shuttle retreated to its mothership. Hours later, the massive vessel disappeared into faster-than-light travel, leaving Earth's solar system. But Admiral Stone knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had done the unthinkable. They hadn't submitted. They hadn't just resisted. They had banned an empire that ruled thousands of worlds. And soon, the galaxy would learn why. 3 days after Earth banned the Galactic Empire, Dr. Anna Miller stood in her underground laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays of Project Aegis. The screen showed thousands of satellites orbiting Earth, each one pulsing with a soft blue light. "The shield is holding," she announced to the gathered military leaders. "But the Empire won't stay away for long. They'll be back with bigger ships and stronger weapons." Admiral Stone nodded from his seat in the front row. "How long can our defenses last against a full attack?" Dr. Miller pressed a button, and a new image appeared. It showed the inner workings of an Aegis satellite. "That's the beautiful part," she said, smiling. "The more they attack, the stronger we get." She pointed to a small device at the center of the satellite. "We didn't just copy their technology. We improved it. Their ships use energy fields for protection. We studied those fields and found a way to turn them against themselves." The demonstration showed an Imperial ship firing at Earth. As the energy blast hit the Aegis shield, the satellites absorbed the power and grew stronger. "It's like trying to break down a wall by throwing bricks at it," Dr. Miller explained. "Except our wall catches the bricks and uses them to build itself higher." Around the world, construction teams worked day and night to build more ground stations. These stations looked like simple radio towers, but they contained technology that even the Empire didn't understand. Humans had taken alien science and mixed it with their own ideas, creating something new. "We've already detected 3 Imperial spy ships," Commander Hayes reported, standing up from his seat. "They're staying just outside our solar system, watching us." He showed pictures of the ships, trying to hide behind distant asteroids. Dr. Miller wasn't worried about the spies. "Let them watch," she said. "They won't understand what they're seeing. We've hidden our real advances inside ordinary-looking equipment. They think we're just using their old technology." The meeting was interrupted by an alarm. One of the spy ships had gotten bold and moved closer to Earth. Everyone watched the main screen as the ship approached Mars. "Should we warn them off?" someone asked. Admiral Stone shook his head. "No, let them learn the hard way." The Imperial ship crossed the invisible line that marked Earth's defense zone. Immediately, the Aegis satellites near Mars lit up. A web of energy formed around the spy ship, holding it in place like a fly in a spider's web. Dr. Miller typed quickly on her control panel, sending them our message. The message was simple. "You have entered a restricted zone. Your ship is now under our control. You have 1 hour to leave Earth space. Further violations will result in your ship being impounded." The spy ship struggled against the energy web for several minutes. Then, realizing it couldn't break free, it turned around and flowed back into deep space as soon as the web released it. "They'll tell their leaders about this," Commander Hayes said. "The Empire isn't used to being challenged." "Good," Admiral Stone replied. "It's time they learned that Earth is different." Dr. Miller returned to her work, making the shield even stronger. She knew the Empire would send bigger ships next time, but that was exactly what she was counting on. Every attack would teach them more about Imperial technology. Every failed invasion would make Earth's defenses better. In her private lab, she studied the heart of the Aegis system, a combination of Imperial power systems and human computer code. The Empire built their machines to follow strict rules. Humans had learned to break those rules, to think in ways the Empire couldn't understand. They think technology only works one way. Their way, she said to herself, watching the shield's power levels grow stronger. They're about to learn that humans have a different way of doing things. Outside, the Aegis satellites continued their silent watch, ready to protect Earth from whatever the Empire would send next. The shield wasn't just a barrier. It was humanity's first step toward changing the galaxy. Captain Marcus Reed stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Thunder, watching as 5 Imperial battleships emerged from faster-than-light travel. They were massive vessels, each one bigger than anything humanity had built before. Their black hulls seemed to swallow the light from nearby stars. "They're not here to talk this time," he said to his crew. The Imperial ships had appeared just beyond Jupiter's orbit, forming an attack pattern that Earth's intelligence had predicted. The radio crackled with an Imperial message. "Your defiance ends today. Submit or be destroyed." Captain Reed pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill." Red lights flashed throughout the thunder as crews rushed to their positions. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "they're launching fighters. Hundreds of them." The space between Jupiter and Earth filled with small, fast Imperial ships. They moved in perfect formation, like a swarm of angry bees heading for their target. Reed smiled. They were doing exactly what Dr. Miller had predicted. "Send the signal to activate Aegis," he ordered. "Let's show them why you don't ignore a no-entry sign." Around Earth, thousands of satellites lit up. The shield shimmered into existence, but this time it was different. Instead of just forming a barrier, it reached out into space, creating lanes and pathways that only Earth's ships could see. "All Earth defense ships, follow your assigned routes," Reed commanded. 20 ships, hidden behind Earth's moon, powered up their engines. They were smaller than the Imperial vessels but packed with surprises. The Imperial fighters hit the shield first. Instead of stopping them completely, the shield split into thousands of small bubbles, trapping each fighter inside. The pilots found themselves unable to move forward or back, stuck in spaces barely bigger than their ships. "Phase 1 complete," Reed reported. "Beginning Phase 2. The larger Imperial ships opened fire, sending energy beams toward Earth. But as Dr. Miller had promised, each shot made the shield stronger. The Aegis satellites absorbed the energy, growing brighter with each blast. "They're charging their main weapons," the sensor officer warned. "These are planet-killer-class ships, sir." Reed watched calmly as the Imperial ships gathered power. Right on schedule. All Earth ships moved to attack positions. The Thunder led Earth's fleet through the shield's hidden pathways. While the Imperial ships focused on Earth, Reed's forces emerged behind and above them. The Empire's commanders hadn't even noticed they were surrounded. "Remember," Reed told his weapons officer, "aim for the spots Dr. Miller marked. Their shields are weakest there." Earth's ships fired as one. Their weapons weren't as big as the Empire's, but they didn't need to be. Each shot slipped through gaps in Imperial defenses that only human engineers had noticed. Alarms blared on the Imperial ships as systems began to fail. "Sir, they're turning to attack us," someone reported. "Let them try," Reed answered. "Activate the point defense grid." When the Imperial ships fired at Earth's fleet, their energy beams hit invisible walls, splitting into harmless light shows. The Empire's mighty weapons, which had destroyed countless worlds, couldn't touch humanity's smaller vessels. The battle lasted less than an hour. 3 Imperial ships retreated with heavy damage. One was captured when its engines failed. The last one self-destructed rather than face defeat. As for the fighters trapped in Aegis bubbles, Captain Reed gave them a choice: surrender or be towed beyond Pluto's orbit. Most chose surrender, shocked that their primitive human opponents had beaten them so easily. Back on his bridge, Reed looked at the cleanup operation beginning around Jupiter. Hundreds of Imperial fighters were being collected for study. The captured battleship would teach them even more about their enemy's technology. "Send word to command," he ordered. "First wave defeated. Minimal damage to Earth forces. Shield strength increased by 40%. He paused, then added, "Also tell them, I don't think the Empire will stay away for long. Next time, they'll bring their whole fleet." As his message was sent, the Aegis shield rippled with stored energy, ready for whatever came next. Earth had won its first real battle against the Empire. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy faster than the Empire could contain it. in the shadowy corners of space stations and the hidden bases of conquered worlds. People whispered about the small blue planet that had said no to the Empire and won. Admiral Stone sat in his office on the moon base, reading messages from across the stars. They came through secret channels, encoded in ways that even the Empire couldn't crack. Each one told the same story. Other worlds wanted to learn Earth's secrets. Another message from the free worlds underground, his assistant reported, placing a tablet on his desk. This one's from the mining colonies in the Centauri system. Stone read the message carefully. The miners had been slaves of the Empire for 30 years. Now they saw hope for the first time. Send them the basic plans for the shield generator, he ordered. The simplified version that Dr. Miller prepared. On Earth, Dr. Miller had turned the captured Imperial battleship into a teaching center. Representatives from resistance movements across the galaxy arrived disguised as traders and tourists. In hidden underground classrooms, they learned how to build their own defense systems. The Empire's greatest weakness, she told a group of students, is that they think their way is the only way. They haven't had to think differently for thousands of years. But humans, we're good at finding new ways to solve old problems. The Empire wasn't blind to these activities. They launched a massive propaganda campaign, broadcasting messages across their territory. Earth is a danger to galactic peace. They harbor terrorists and spread dangerous ideas. But their words had the opposite effect. The more the Empire warned people about Earth, the more interesting Earth became. Every Imperial citizen started wondering, what was so special about this one planet that made the mighty Empire so nervous? Commander Hayes led the effort to smuggle shield technology to other worlds. He worked with a network of cargo pilots who hid shield parts inside regular shipments. The Empire's customs officers never thought to check boxes labeled farm equipment or medical supplies. Each piece looks harmless by itself, Hayes explained to his team. It's only dangerous when you know how to put them together, and that's the knowledge we're really sending. Not just parts, but a new way of thinking. The Empire's grip on power began to slip. Small colonies reported equipment failures. Shield generators appeared on remote worlds. Imperial ships found themselves blocked from planets they had controlled for centuries. Then came the message that changed everything. The desert world of Proxima III, one of the Empire's oldest colonies, declared itself independent. They raised a shield just like Earth's and dared the Empire to break through. The Empire sent a fleet to crush the rebellion. But when their ships arrived, they found not just one shield, but a network of defenses shared between multiple worlds. A new alliance was forming. Admiral Stone called an emergency meeting of Earth's Defense Council. The Empire will blame us for this, he said, showing images of the growing rebellion. They'll say we're destroying the peace they built. Peace built on slavery isn't peace at all, Dr. Miller replied. She had just finished teaching another group of resistance fighters. We're not destroying their peace, we're giving people a choice. In his private moments, Stone studied the latest intelligence reports. The Empire was gathering the largest fleet ever seen. Sooner or later, they would try to crush Earth and end the spread of rebellion. But Earth wasn't alone anymore. As the sun set over the moon base, Stone watched ships arrive from across the galaxy. They carried leaders of the newly formed Free Systems Alliance, worlds that had broken free and now stood ready to fight beside Earth. Send a message to all our allies, he told his staff. Tell them it's time to prepare for the real battle. The Empire won't just send a few ships next time. They'll come with everything they have. Across the galaxy, lights began to shine in the darkness. One by one, worlds were waking up, remembering what it meant to be free. And it all started because one small planet had dared to say no. The Imperial fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system like a storm of metal and light. 10,000 ships filled the space between Neptune and Uranus, their weapons already charged. At their center floated the Imperial command ship, larger than a small moon. Dr. Miller stood in Earth's main control center, watching the enemy fleet on dozens of screens. They brought their whole navy, she said quietly, just as we hoped they would. Admiral Stone's voice came through the speakers from his command post on the moon. All Earth Defense Forces, take your positions. This is what we've prepared for. The Empire's message boomed across all channels. Surrender Earth and its colonies immediately. This is your final warning. Our weapons are set to destroy your entire civilization. Nobody replied to their threat. Instead, Earth's defense grid powered up silently. The Aegis shield sparkled to life, but differently than before. This time, it spread through the whole solar system like a giant web. First wave of Imperial ships approaching Mars. Commander Hayes reported from his station. They're using their new planet killer weapons. The Imperial ships fired. Beams of energy bright enough to vaporize mountains shot toward Earth. But Dr. Miller was smiling. On her private screen, numbers and calculations flashed rapidly. Now we show them what we've really built, she said, pressing a sequence of buttons. When the Imperial weapons hit the Aegis shield, something unexpected happened. Instead of being absorbed or reflected, the energy seemed to disappear. The Empire fired again and again, but their attacks vanished into nothing. What's happening? The Imperial commander demanded over the open channels. Where are our weapons going? Dr. Miller activated Earth's global communication system. Your energy isn't gone, she announced to the Imperial fleet. We've been storing it. Would you like it back? She nodded to her team. Suddenly, every Aegis satellite in the solar system lit up like a small sun. All the energy from the Imperial attacks had been captured, refined, and enhanced. Now it was ready to return to its senders. Fire, Admiral Stone ordered. The stored energy shot back at the Imperial fleet in thousands of precise beams. Ships that had survived battles for centuries fell apart as their own weapons were used against them. The mighty Imperial command ship found itself trapped in a web of its own energy, its shields failing. But Earth wasn't done. Captain Reed led a fleet of Earth ships through hidden paths in the Aegis network, striking at the confused Imperial forces. Other ships appeared from secret bases on Mars and Jupiter's moons, attacking from all directions. Impossible. The Imperial commander's voice shook with anger. You're just one primitive world. How can you do this? Dr. Miller replied calmly. Because we looked at your technology differently. You've used the same weapons the same way for 1,000 years. We found new ways to use them. The battle raged for hours, but its outcome was never in doubt. Imperial ships began to retreat, many of them badly damaged. The command ship tried to rally its forces for one final attack, but found itself surrounded by Earth's fleet. Your choice, Admiral Stone told the Imperial commander. Surrender or join the ships you've already lost. The Imperial command ship lowered its shields. For the first time in its 1,000-year history, the Empire had lost a major battle. More than half their fleet was destroyed or captured, and Earth's defenses were stronger than ever. In the aftermath, Dr. Miller studied the data from the battle. Every attack from the Empire had taught them something new. Every weapon they'd used had made Earth's shields better. They'll be back, Commander Hayes said, watching cleanup crews collect disabled Imperial ships. Yes, Dr. Miller agreed. But next time, they'll have to deal with something even worse than Earth's defenses. What's that? She pointed to incoming messages from across the galaxy. Other worlds had watched the battle. They'd seen the Empire's greatest fleet defeated. And now, they were ready to rise up. They'll have to face a galaxy that's no longer afraid of them, she said, as reports of new rebellions filled the screens. News of Earth's victory spread across the stars like wildfire. Within days, 100 worlds declared their independence from the Empire. Within weeks, that number grew to thousands. Captain Reed stood on the bridge of the Thunder, now leading a fleet of both Earth ships and vessels from newly freed worlds. His screen showed dozens of green dots, planets that had successfully raised their own defense shields. Another message from the mining colonies in Sector 7, his communications officer reported. They'd driven out the Imperial governors. Their shields are online and holding. The Empire tried to maintain control through fear, sending what remained of their fleet to punish rebellious worlds. But they couldn't be everywhere at once. For every world they threatened, 10 more rose up against them. On Earth, Dr. Miller worked around the clock, teaching representatives from free worlds how to build and improve their defenses. The former Imperial command ship, now renamed Liberty, had become a floating university where people from across the galaxy learned Earth's technologies. The key isn't just copying our shields, she explained to a group of alien engineers. It's understanding why they work. The Empire thinks in straight lines, attack and defense. We think in circles, taking their attack and turning it into our defense. Admiral Stone coordinated the liberation efforts from the new Free Systems Alliance headquarters on Earth's moon. His office walls were covered with maps showing the Empire's shrinking territory in red and free worlds in blue. The blue areas grew larger every day. The Empire's falling back to their core systems, Commander Hayes reported during a strategy meeting. They're abandoning their outer colonies to try and save their central worlds. Stone studied the reports carefully. They still have enough ships to cause trouble. We need to help these freed worlds protect themselves before the Empire tries to take them back. On a dozen formerly Imperial worlds, people tore down statues of Imperial rulers and replaced them with new symbols. Earth's continents surrounded by a protective shield. Earth had become more than just a planet. It was now a symbol of freedom. The Empire made one last attempt to turn the tide. They offered Earth a deal. Stop spreading shield technology, and the Empire would recognize Earth's independence. They even offered to pay for the rights to use Earth's defense systems. Admiral Stone's response was broadcast across the galaxy. Freedom isn't for sale, and it's not just for Earth anymore. The revolution wasn't always peaceful. Some Imperial commanders refused to surrender, fighting until their ships were destroyed. Some worlds suffered damage before their shields could be raised. But with each battle, the free worlds grew stronger, and the Empire grew weaker. Captain Reed led missions deep into Imperial space, helping trapped resistance fighters escape to free territory. His fleet grew as liberated worlds added their ships to the cause. The Thunder, once considered a small vessel compared to Imperial ships, now led armadas that the Empire couldn't hope to match. Another Imperial battle group surrendered near Alpha Centauri. Reed reported to Earth Command. Their crews are requesting asylum. They say they're tired of fighting for a losing cause. Dr. Miller's technology kept evolving. The shields protecting free worlds learned to work together, creating networks that could share power and information across light years. If the Empire attacked one world, all its neighbors would know instantly and could send help. In the Imperial capital, panic set in. Their 1,000-year rule was crumbling, all because one small planet had shown the galaxy that resistance wasn't just possible, it could succeed. The Empire's Council is meeting in emergency session. Commander Hayes informed Stone. Our spies say they're considering a full retreat to their home system. They want to try and save what's left of their power. Stone looked at the latest maps. The Empire that had once ruled most of the galaxy now controlled less than a quarter of its former territory, and that number shrank every day. Let them retreat, he said. The galaxy doesn't belong to them anymore. It belongs to all its people. Across thousands of worlds, billions of beings looked up at their skies and, for the first time in generations, saw hope instead of fear. The revolution that started with Earth's defiance was becoming something bigger, a new age of freedom for the entire galaxy. 1 year after Earth's historic victory, representatives from 10,000 worlds gathered in Earth's orbit for the first meeting of the Galactic Council of Free Worlds. The massive space station built for the occasion could be seen from Earth's surface, shining like a new star in the night sky. Admiral Stone stood at the main podium, looking out at the gathered delegates. Some were former slaves, others were ex-imperial officials who had helped their worlds break free. All of them were here because one planet had dared to say no to an empire. A year ago, We banned the Empire from Earth. Stone began his speech. Today, we're here to make sure no empire can ever threaten free worlds again. In the station's massive tech center, Dr. Miller showed the latest version of the defense network to amazed visitors. The screens displayed a web of interconnected shields stretching across the galaxy, each one powered by the same technology that had first protected Earth. Every shield is connected, she explained, pointing to the glowing network. If anyone tries to attack one world, all worlds can respond. We're stronger together than we ever were apart. Captain Reed, now Admiral Reed, commanded the combined fleet of the free worlds. His ships patrolled the borders of what remained of the Empire, making sure they kept to their own territory. The Thunder, his faithful ship, had been upgraded with technology from a dozen worlds, each adding their own improvements to Earth's designs. Another Imperial world requesting to join the free worlds, his communications officer reported. That's the third one this week. The remains of the Empire had shrunk to just 50 systems around their home world. Their once mighty fleet now stayed close to home, their dreams of galactic rule replaced by the simple task of surviving. Commander Hayes led the Council's security forces, working to maintain peace between newly freed worlds. Some had old conflicts to settle, but the memory of Imperial rule made them eager to find peaceful solutions. We didn't fight for freedom just to become little empires ourselves, Hayes told quarreling delegates. We fought to build something better. In Earth's universities, students from across the galaxy study together. Humans learned about alien science and culture, while visitors learned Earth's unique way of looking at problems. Every graduation ceremony sent new teams of engineers and scientists out to help rebuild damaged worlds. Dr. Miller's original shield design had evolved into something greater. The network didn't just defend. It connected worlds, allowing instant communication and travel across vast distances. Trade flourished between free worlds, and with it came understanding and cooperation. The Empire thought unity could only come through control, she told her students. We proved that real unity comes from choice and mutual respect. Admiral Stone received regular reports about the Empire's remnants. They had closed their borders and turned inward, their 1,000-year rule now just a chapter in history books. Some suggested invading their remaining territory, but Stone always refused. We banned them from Earth to protect our freedom, he would say, not to become them. Let them learn to live in peace, just like the rest of us. The Galactic Council chamber became a place where all voices could be heard. Former enemies sat together, working to solve common problems. Earth held a special place in the Council, not because it demanded power, but because it had shown how to stand up to power. As the Council's first meeting drew to a close, Admiral Stone looked out at the Earth shining below the station. The blue planet that had once seemed so alone in the galaxy was now the heart of a new civilization. A year ago, we were just one world saying no to an empire, he told the assembled delegates in his closing speech. Today, we're 10,000 worlds saying yes to freedom. And tomorrow, he smiled, looking at the stars beyond the station's windows. Tomorrow, we'll build something even greater. Across the galaxy, the lights of civilization shone brighter than ever. Not with the cold gleam of imperial rule, but with the warm glow of worlds freely choosing to work together. The age of empires was over. The age of freedom had begun. And it all started because Earth posted a simple sign in space. Empire banned. No entry allowed.